Welcome back, everyone. It's me, Exorbola. Now, you may or may not remember the fact that before I officially returned to YouTube about a month ago, I went on a little hiatus that was like 1 to 2 months long. And after I returned to YouTube from that hiatus, I said that I was gonna be making mostly positive videos from now on. I was gonna be a little bit less of a hater. I was gonna hate in games a little bit less. I was gonna go out and find good games to play and make good positive reviews about the games I play. And for the most part, that was true. But you might be asking, Exorbula, if that was your goal when returning to YouTube, if you just wanted to make positive videos where you said good things about games, why are you returning to Tower Defense Simulator all of a sudden? You know, that game that you keep hating on and always have something negative to say about? And, well, the reason for all of that is because this time around, I actually kind of don't really have anything negative to say about the new Tower Defense Simulator Halloween event. Like, for the most part, it is really good and developers genuinely did a good job. And also, I found peace within my soul by already letting all my anger out on Plants vs. Zombies Replanted, because that game was genuinely slop. But anyways, back to the topic. So, with the event in full swing, and with all 3 nights being released for quite a while, I kind of wanted to get into this event a little bit, give my honest opinion on it, give my review on it. Because it genuinely managed to impress me, which is something I was not expecting, because, again, as I mentioned before, Tower Defense Simulator, for the past year or two, has been a game that I've constantly complained about, and I constantly had something negative to say about it, so I was genuinely not expecting this event to be any kind of good, but it genuinely was, so let's get right into it. Okay, so I know I said like 5 seconds ago that I have nothing negative to say about this event, but I actually do have one negative thing to talk about. But I promise it's the only one, and then after that we're going to get right into the positives. But yeah, the one negative thing that I want to mention about this event is the Battle Pass. You guys know me, you guys know what I think about the Tds'S Battle Pass, and you guys know that I think it freaking sucks, okay? The paid version of the Battle Pass absolutely sucks. I just wish there was a way to get the paid version for free. Now, me personally, I always buy these Battle Passes. I always buy the paid Battle Pass, so I guess I'm a part of the problem, but I know that there are many people who can't buy the Battle Pass. And I just can't imagine that making the Battle Pass costs like 1,000 gems would kill the game, right? Like, make it so that, like, if you have the money and you can buy it for, like, I don't know, 400, 500 Robux or whatever. And if you don't have the money, then you can buy it for 1,000 gems. Like, it's really just that simple, man. Just make it that, right? Make it so that there is a paid option, a paid option to buy the Battle Pass and a free option to buy the Battle Pass. Like, it's really that simple. Like, it cannot be that detrimental to a game to make it so that, like, the paid version of the Battle Pass can either cost you 1,000 gems or like 500 Robux. Like, it cannot be that hard to implement a feature like that, man. And just telling Tower Defense Simulator players to just go get a job, it's not that expensive, doesn't really work, because most Tower Defense Simulator players are like fucking 13 years old, right? Like, they cannot get a job at McDonald's even if they fucking wanted to. And, well, by the time that they are old enough to get a job at McDonald's, they would have missed out on like fucking 20 fucking events. But moving past that, because I've already yapped about that issue to an extreme extent in my previous videos, that's really the only negative thing I have to say about this event. The only other thing that I would maybe change about the Battle Pass is making it slightly cheaper. And, well, first of all, speaking of a cheaper Battle Pass, I'm glad that the developers of Tower Defense Simulator listened to the community and lowered the price of the Battle Pass in the first place, because in the older events, like in the past like fucking 3 or 4 events or something like that, the Battle Pass used to cost like 27,000 currency in order to max out, which was just an absolutely insane number that got so fucking sluggishly grindy to grind out, especially on those on those later levels of the battle pass, like the last 10-15 levels. So I'm glad the developers took the community feedback into account and made this battle pass cheaper, because the current one only costs about 21,000 to 22,000 gumdrops to max out. But I still wish they made it just a tiny bit cheaper, you know? They don't have to like ludicrously nerf it like they did last time and make it like fucking 7,000 gumdrops cheaper, but I just wish it was like 20,000 gumdrops to max out instead of like 22,000 gumdrops to max out. But that's really all I have to say about the battle pass. Outside of the prices and the paid Roblox battle pass, I think the battle pass in this event was quite good. It featured some really great skins, such as the extended line of ghost skins that we got, all the new Null skins that we got, the unique skins that we got, such as the ones for the minigunner and the plague doctor medic or whatever the hell he's called. And of course, everyone's favorite skin, and rightfully so by the way, the dragon person skin, which, oh my god, it just looks fucking amazing in pretty much every aspect, and it's probably the most unique skin in the whole entire game. It's a shame that it's locked behind the premium pass, but I totally get why, man. It's just a 10 out of 10. I mean, what can I say? It's just a 10 out of 10 skin. There's literally nothing about it that I can say that's like wrong or ugly in any way. But let's move on to the actual gameplay of the event now, shall we? So of course, starting off with night 1 of the event, I think it's already a great introduction to the event and everything that it's trying to accomplish. I think the gameplay of night 1 is already very fun. I mean, obviously night 1 is easy. I think you can pretty much beat your first or maybe second try. Even with like randoms, you know, even if you load up into a random match with random people, it's not going to be that hard. And honestly, it doesn't even need to be hard, because again, it's just night 1, so there are going to be more nights in the future. They're going to ramp that difficulty up. But yeah, night 1 just serves as a really good introduction. It introduces you to the main gimmicks of this event, like the tarot cards, and you having to fight clones of your towers and whatnot. And yeah, I think it all works really well, and especially I like the introduction to the tarot cards, because they add a whole new like difficulty RNG aspect to the game. And I know that a lot of people don't like RNG in games, but I think with the tarot cards it was executed really well. But basically, if you don't know what tarot cards are, which I'm assuming you do, but if you don't, basically what they do is every 5 waves you get a selection of 3 random tarot cards that pop up on your screen, and you and your team have to vote which one to pick, and every tarot card gives you a random upside and a random downside to it. So for example, if you pick a tarot card like, I don't know, the sun for example, then all the enemies in the future waves are going to have a resistance to pretty much every debuff. They're going to have a resistance to fire, ice, stuns, freezes, and all that other stuff. But your towers are going to get a detection to every type of enemy. So your towers are going to be able to see flying enemies, hidden enemies. They're going to be able to pierce through lead enemies, and so on and so on. And then there are other cards like the Fool, for example, which set your HP to 1 but give you bonus economy in each wave, which are a lot more simple. But yeah, I like all these cards because even though they add like an RNG aspect, which people usually don't like in games, to your knights, I think they're executed pretty well, because none of the cards are really like a game ender, you know? Like, you're rarely, if ever, gonna lose because your team picked the wrong tarot card, or because you didn't get a good selection of tarot cards. The only real exception to this rule is the tarot card called Death, because the developers of Tds'S were really funny with this one, and they made it so that if you pick the Death Tarot card, then you get absolutely no upsides and only downsides, with now all enemies becoming bloated and nimble, so they move super fast and they fucking have a ton of HP. But outside of the Death card, none of the other tarot cards are really gonna like spell doom for you if you pick them, if you know what I'm saying. Now obviously that doesn't just mean you can go in willy-nilly and like pick whatever fucking tarot cards just randomly select them and hope for the best. Because obviously there are some tarot cards that are better than others. Like for example, in early game, obviously it's not a smart idea to pick a tarot card like the Moon, which makes all enemies hidden. Because if you don't have a lot of hidden detection, then you're just dead pretty much. But yeah, like for example, if you need eco on one wave, if you need like more money during a certain period of your game, you can always pick the Fool tarot card and get extra economy at the cost of having only 1 HP. Or if you need more range, you can always pick the Moon card in later game when you already have hidden detection. Or when you already have the Sun card, which gives you all detections anyway, and you can boost the range of all your towers by 10% at the cost of all the enemies being hidden. So there's definitely a strategy and a golden balance to be struck when picking your tarot cards. But again, you're never really gonna be in like a pickle in like a game ender type of situation because you got a bad selection of tarot cards. But yeah, the other thing that Night 1 introduces you to is the fact that in this event you're going to be fighting like evil, spooky versions of your towers. And some people have said that that's a really tropey thing to put into your event, and I kind of agree because, fighting an evil clone of yourself is a thing that's been kind of overdone in games. But again, I think in TDS they executed it really well because instead of just having like enemies that just look like your towers but act like any other enemies, they took the opportunity to make it so that these clones of your towers that you're fighting can actually use their weapons and apply all sorts of different debuffs to your towers and do all sorts of different things to your defense. Like for example, the evil version of the Brawler can jump further into the track and avoid choke points in your defense. Accelerator, for example, can use his fucking ray beam that he uses and shuffle your towers around and swap their places. Engineer can apply debuffs to your towers, and so can Pyromancer. Freezer can obviously freeze your towers, and so on and so on. And yeah, I just think that this whole trope of fighting like evil versions of your towers is executed really well, and it adds a whole new actual level of challenge to the Knights, which is really, really fun to circumnavigate and whatnot. Going on to Night 2, though, I probably have the least to say about it, because it was kind of just like more of Night 1, but harder. And that was kind of it. It had a couple more lanes, because Night 1, I think, only had 1 lane, and then Night 2 had like fucking 3 lanes or something, but they all converged onto the same path. So yeah, you technically had to deal with 3 times more enemies, but, they all went down the same path, so it kind of didn't really matter that it was a multi-lane map. But yeah, it was just kind of Night 1 with more waves and a little bit harder. Well, it was actually a lot harder because I remember actually struggling a lot with Night 2 when it first came out. I struggled to beat it because I was trying to not use strategies for this event. I was just taking the best loadout that I can take into a game and loading up a match with random people and hoping for the best. But yeah, so because of that, I remember kind of struggling with Night 2, but as I said before, it wasn't really anything super crazy. I kind of liked the final boss, though. I think he was pretty difficult. And I think Night 2 was pretty well balanced. I think every wave was as hard as the previous wave, and as hard as the waves coming after it. So there was no crazy difficulty spikes in the middle of the night. So I think it was pretty well balanced. And again, pretty much all the good things that I said about Night 1 also apply to Night 2. Yeah, Night 2 was great. It was good. It was really enjoyable. But again, it was a bit too similar to Night 1 in my opinion. But it was great. Again, yeah. But that's really that's pretty much all I have to say about Night 2. Moving on to Night 3, this is where stuff actually gets fun. Now, I wouldn't say that Night 3 was the hardest level of a TDS event ever, but it gets pretty damn close. Actually, I think it might be the hardest level ever if we exclude the fucking Lunar Overture Night 3 or Night 4, however many nights that event had. If we exclude the final night of the Lunar Overture event, then this is the hardest one, I'm pretty sure. because the Lunar Overture event, the final night of that event, was bugged for a while, and it was just straight up impossible and unbalanced. And the same thing kinda happened with night 3 of this event, but it got resolved really quickly. But after it got resolved, night 3 was still really difficult. Yeah, I mean, pretty much every wave is hard. You have to get a shit ton of detection super early on. Like, before fucking wave 5, you already have to have flying detection, hidden detection, you have to have lead piercing, you have to have fast firing towers for the tank enemies, because the tank modifier makes enemies only take 1 HP of damage, no matter how hard a shot to hit them was. I think you have to have lead piercing. I think there are only like a couple of enemies that have lead armor in the final night of the event. But yeah, you basically have to have every single type of detection outside of lead detection before like fucking wave 5 to 7. So yeah, it's just absolutely crazy. Early game is absolutely insane. The first mini boss, and this night also has a shit ton of mini bosses too. The first mini boss already comes out in like wave 10, I think, when you're dirt poor and you barely have any defenses. And it always gets pretty clutch for me with that first mini boss, which is the Null Engineer. By the way, when the Null Engineer comes out, you gotta lock in a little bit. You got to get those Rangers up. You got to get those Cowboys up. You probably need a couple of Rocketeers. Maybe a DJ, maybe a couple of accelerators. Definitely some crook bosses. Maybe a helicopter. You need some high damaging towers, and you preferably need them to have a really long range, like helicopters, for example, or Rangers. But yeah, man, that Null Engineer mini boss fight always gets really clutch. And then right after that, you have the Null Pursuit. Then you have like all these hidden enemies coming out. You have all these Null Towers coming out that constantly debuff your towers. And then you get the fucking Cronus guy, one of the Children of Exo. You get the Cronus guy coming out, and he's not too difficult of a boss fight. I think I only lost to him once, but he is still kind of hard. He has this ability where he like slows down time, so your towers move like fucking 99% slower, while he continues moving at the same speed that he always does. Hence his name Kronos, because Chronos, time, Kronos time. You get the pun. But anyways, yeah, that's his main ability. He can also spawn enemies. He has a lot of HP. It's a pretty tough wave. Then you have the Null Accelerator, which isn't really that hard, but he can be annoying because he has his little beam that I mentioned at the start of the video, where like if he fires his beam at one of your towers, he switches that tower's position with another tower. And usually it's not that bad, but if he like shuffles a fucking random Rocketeer with your DJ, if he swaps their places, then you're kind of messed up. You gotta sell your DJ, you gotta rebuild him, you gotta activate his ability, blah blah blah. And yeah, if he shuffles any of your support towers, it's gonna be pretty hard to get them back into their original place, because you gotta strategize with your teammates. You gotta like get them. You gotta show them where your swap towers are. You gotta tell them which towers to sell in order to get your DJs, commanders, or medics, or whatever other support towers back into place. And it's just a big hassle. But yeah, as I said, usually the Null Accelerator is not that tough of a boss fight outside of his HP, because he moves relatively slowly. He does have a lot of defense, but his HP is the same as the HP of Kronos, who you fought like 5 waves ago. So now that you have more cash, you have a lot more cash. You have a lot more defenses to deal with the Null Accelerator, which has, again, as I said, the same amount of HP, just with more defense. So he's not that hard, but again, like if he targets your support towers, then yeah, you're kind of cooked if you don't get that sorted out. And then after the Null Accelerator, you have probably the hardest wave outside of the boss, outside of the last boss fight. And I could totally see people arguing that this wave is even harder than the final boss fight. And the wave that I'm talking about is the one where the Null Necromancer comes out. And oh man, he's definitely the hardest mini boss in the whole event. When he first appears, he has the bloated modifier, so he has 2 times HP, but also all of his spawns have a bloated modifier, so they also have 2 times HP. and you just need a shit ton of crowd control for this wave. The main reason that people actually bring Rocketeers into Night 3 is specifically to deal with that wave, because if you don't have a single player using Rocketeers and you get to wave 27 when the Null Necromancer comes out, you're pretty much dead. Like, there's just straight up nothing you can do. You're just pretty much dead. I mean, once you kill all his minions, all his pre-spawned and actively spawning minions, he becomes pretty easy because you can shred through his HP, because I think he has no defense or anything. He does have 200,000 HP and shields, but you know, he's without his minions, he's pretty much powerless. But shredding through his minions is a fucking tall task. It's gonna take you like a solid 30 seconds in order to shred through all his minions, even if you have like the most perfect defense ever for him. And by the time that you take down all his minions, he's already gonna be like 60% of the way through the track. So if you don't, if you can't shred him, if you don't have enough DPS to shred him after you kill his minions, you're dead. And obviously, as I said before, if you don't have enough splash damage, you're just dead as well. So he's just really, really difficult, and there's not a lot that you can do for him. But right after you beat him, Wave 30 comes out, and Wave 30 is the final wave, and as you know, in the final wave, you gotta fight the Riftwalker, and with the Riftwalker, he's pretty difficult. He has a lot of minions that come out with him, and he has a lot of HP. He's the most healthy enemy, for lack of a better word in the game. I think the second most powerful enemy in the game had like 1.5 million HP or something like that. Meanwhile, this guy, the fucking Riftwalker, he has 2.5 million HP. So he's like by far the enemy with the most HP in the whole entire game of Tower Defense Simulator, and I'm pretty sure in the history of Tower Defense Simulator. So yeah, fighting him is pretty messed up, especially with all his minions. It doesn't take as long to get through his minions as it does with the Null Necromancer. It's not even close. But shredding through all his HP is a fucking tall order. Like, I think the fastest I ever managed to beat him was when he was already like 90% through the track, like 85% through the track. But yeah, outside of him just being like a huge meat sponge, he also has this big attack that I think originally damaged your base and was able to kill you, but like in the current state, I'm not exactly sure what it does. In the current state of the attack, ever since they nerfed the attack, it made it do something else. I'm not exactly sure what it does. But it's this attack where he like makes a big black hole above his head, and you have to use the star cannon. Which, by the way, the star cannon from the lunar event, from the OG lunar event that happened in like 2021 or 2022, that star cannon makes a return in this event. But yeah, anyways, when the boss makes that black hole above his head, you have to aim the star cannon and you have to shoot the black hole. Otherwise, it explodes and makes your whole screen like extra purple and like Fortnite levels of vibrant. But I'm not exactly sure what all that does, but I know that it did make me lose once. So, it's probably in your best interest to shoot the black hole above his head with a star cannon and, not let him execute his move. But yeah, the only real complaint that I have with Night 3 is the fact that the star cannon feels a little bit underpowered. Because in the original lunar eclipse event that happened like in 2021 or 2022, or whenever the hell it was, as I mentioned before, the star cannon actually used to deal damage to the boss, I'm pretty sure. Meanwhile, in this event, the star cannon does 0 damage. Like, that's not a joke. Like, it genuinely does 0 damage. Its only purpose is to counter that one specific attack from the final boss, which I think is a little bit lame. They could have at least made it do like, I don't know, like 20,000 HP worth of damage or something like that, like 10 to 20,000 HP worth of damage. They could have at least made it do that. It is kind of lame that they made it just do straight up 0. But, I mean, outside of that, I don't really have any complaints about Night 3. I think it was really difficult. I think it was really fun. And honestly, I really, really, really enjoyed Night 3. I think it's my favorite. No, I don't think. I know it's my favorite night of the whole entire event. It was just so fucking good. It was challenging. There were a shit ton of mini bosses. They were all unique. Again, the Null enemies. I like the Null Engineer, the Null Pursuit, the Null Freezers, the Null Crook Bosses, all those guys. The Null Necromancer. They made the event really cool. They had all of them had their own unique attacks. Even Cronus had his own unique attack. And yeah, I just think it was really good. It was a really refreshing night. It was a really refreshing event level. It was really hard. TDS hasn't exactly been known to be challenging, so it's really refreshing that we got an event that's actually really difficult. And yeah, it was cool. It was awesome, man. I just really enjoyed it. The gameplay was great. I like the return to Star Cannon. And yeah, again, the difficulty is what I'm most drawn to. But yeah, it was great. But anyways, with all that dilly-dallying out the way about all the 3 nights, I think it's time to move on to the story of the event. Alright, so for the final part of the video, I kind of wanted to touch up on the story a little bit, and I honestly never really liked Tower Defense Simulator's lore, so to speak. Well, that is, I didn't like it until this event, because this event pretty much fucking fixed everything about the lore that I complained about. It fixed pretty much everything I had problems with, and my main problem with the whole lore is that Tower Defense Simulator kind of always felt like it wanted to have this super crazy story fucking that has like FNAF levels of lore in it, but like it never managed to get around to creating an actual story, so like you have these little tidbits that kind of make some surface level bullshit story. Because every event up until now has been like, oh, this boss, these guys have a fucking part of the God Cube, so we gotta go kill them. Oh, these other guys have a part of a God Cube, so we gotta go kill them. Oh, these third guys have a part of the God Cube, so we gotta go kill them. And it was God Cube, God Cube, God Cube, God Cube, God Cube, God Cube, and it just got so fucking repetitive and so fucking mind-numbingly boring, and I did not like the story at all, and I could not get at all invested into it. The only real other thing we knew about the story is that we were chasing this guy called the Lord Exo, and that's about it. We didn't know who Lord Exo was, we didn't know anything about him, we didn't know what he looked like, we knew absolutely nothing about him other than that we were chasing him. And thankfully, this event managed to add a lot more context to this God Cube and Lord Exo and all that stuff. And I'm really happy about that, so let's get right into it. So first things first, we finally got to see Lord Exo. Finally. For the first fucking time. After chasing him for like fucking 3-4 years straight, we finally, for once, got to see Lord Exo. And it wasn't any big reveal or anything, but it was kind of cool. I mean, first of all, we had those first few live events that happened that I made videos on, where the developers made like a little secret level that you can only access for like 1 hour during those 2 live events. And we got a little bit of lore about Lord Exo there. We got a little bit of his personality. We got to hear him speak. And yeah, he's a pretty standard like Lord Tyrant character where he thinks he's like all powerful and we can't stop him and blah blah blah. He's gonna squash us out. Blah blah blah. You know, he's just a pretty regular tyrannical king type of character. But I still like that within those 2 events we got to see a little bit of his personality through like the speech bubbles at the bottom of the screen, and then obviously when you beat the events, when you beat those 2 live events, you got like a little bit of lore at the end where like the screen would get glitchy and flash with words and whatnot. And yeah, it was just pretty cool. Again, as I said before, it's not really anything too crazy. His character wasn't like really anything wild. But it was cool to finally hear something from him, because I'm not gonna lie, another thing that got pretty boring is that every year for like the past 3 years, we have been saying like, oh, the next year is gonna be when we fight Lord Exo, and then it wasn't, and then we were like, oh, next year is probably gonna be the one where we fight Lord Exo probably, and then that one wasn't the year either, and then we were like, oh, the next one is the one, and that one wasn't it either, and we kept just like thinking about Lord Exo, thinking when we were gonna fight him, and we didn't even get like breadcrumbs of who he was or what he acted like or what he looked like. We didn't even get breadcrumbs about him. All that we heard is that he exists for like 3 years straight, and that was it. So I'm glad that finally we get something to work off of. Because, again, outside of those live events, we did get to see a little cutscene with him at the end, where he fucking kidnapped Dispatcher, and, Commander was like, no, yes, sir, no, no. And then the fucking sky started shattering, and, like, evil monsters started coming out of the portals. And yeah, that was, I said it kind of a jokish tone a second ago, but it was kind of an intense scene, and I kind of did like it. But yeah, I'm genuinely wondering what's going to happen to Dispatcher. I mean, I'm assuming we're probably going to save her, because, it's a kid's game, so... They probably wouldn't kill Dispatcher, but if they do kill Dispatcher, Commander is starting his fucking winter arc, bro. I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, I'm just really excited. I'm excited to see what happens. I think the story is really warming up, and yeah. I just really want to see more of Lord Exo and more of Commander and more of Dispatcher and all that. Another hype thing is the fact that we got more information about the children of Exo, which is pretty cool because originally they were just kind of like villain of the week type characters. They were like, we're evil, we're not gonna explain why, we're just evil, we just like being evil. They were like stereotypical fucking cartoon villains twirling their mustaches, being goons for fucking Lord Exo for no reason. But we did find out why they turned evil and why they don't like the fucking Tds'S organization, And the reason is surprisingly because of fucking Halloween 2020, aka Trick or Threat Town. You remember that? You remember fucking Trick or Threat Town? The fucking longest event in TDS history? Well, it's the second longest, right behind the Frost Invasion. But you remember that fucking event? The fucking event that happened during the beginning of the Dark Ages for TDS history? Yeah, because of that event, fucking Children of Exo turned evil. Because it turns out they were a part of the Trick or Threat Town. And, well, once the fucking TDS organization ravaged Trick or Threat Town and then just left, these kids were... these Children of Exo were fucking left homeless, basically. And so, obviously, they hate the fucking TDS organization for ravaging their home and fucking displacing them and whatnot. And yeah, it's cool. It just gives a little bit of lore as to why they're evil, as opposed to them just being evil because they're just fucking cartoon villains and they just want to be evil. So yeah, that was a really cool piece of lore that I liked. But yeah, it was just cool. So yeah, the story of the event was pretty good, We got a little bit of context as to who Lord Exo is. The tensions are really starting to ramp up with Dispatcher being kidnapped and, the world actually getting destroyed and, portals starting to crack up in the overworld. However, the one thing that we didn't get a lot of context on is the God Cube. The God Cube, again, as I said, was the biggest part of TDS' story. Every single fucking event was just talking all about the God Cube and the fragments of the God Cube. And in this event, and we always knew it was kind of evil, but we didn't exactly understand why. And in this event, we don't exactly get to learn either, because we did get a little bit of context, because, Scout keeps having his nightmares about the God Cube and about him being killed by it, or possessed by it, or whatever. The only thing we really got, the only additional context we got to the God Cube was the Riftwalker guy, the final boss of Night 3. He just kind of vaguely talked about it and was like, don't assemble the God Cube. That'll be bad. If you assemble the God Cube, then we all die. And if I die, you also all die, so don't kill me either. Don't assemble the God Cube, don't kill me, please. That's kind of all he said. And it didn't really add a lot of context, but I guess we did finally get to see the effects of what happens when you assemble the God Cube, because again, as I've been mentioning throughout this video, in the event, the Children of Exo managed to assemble the God Cube, right? They finally put it together. It's finally in one piece. One Piece, like Luffy? No, I'm kidding. But anyways, it's finally in one piece, and because it's in one piece, when we got back home, we finally got to see why the God Cube is evil and how exactly it destroys the world. Because, again, as soon as we got home, a fucking crack started appearing in the sky, and, like, portals started appearing, and, like, monsters started coming out of them, and our world it's about to be ravaged. So yeah, we finally got to see a little bit of the effect of the God Cube, but again, we didn't really learn anything new. Because again, we kind of always knew it was evil, and the Riftwalker just told us not to put it together because it's evil, and that was pretty much it. But I still did enjoy that little cutscene at the end where we finally got to see the effects of actually putting it together. You know, because fucking our world is being destroyed, you know. And finally, we arrive at the conclusion. So yeah, long story short, I really like this event. I think many people really like this event. I think it was really good. The Battle Pass was great. The paid Battle Pass was not great because, you know, it's paid. But outside of that, the Battle Pass was great. The skins were great. The emotes were great. The cosmetics were great. I think the enemies are really cool. I think the whole fighting an evil version of yourself trope was done really well. I really like the addition of the tarot cards. I think the event was really difficult, but not in like an unfair way. It was genuinely difficult in like a fun way. I think the lore was amazing. It definitely did clear some things up and give us a little bit of context instead of just being like a milquetoast story for the sake of story. And yeah, it was just great. What can I say? The enemies were great. Everything was great. The fucking soundtrack was great too. But yeah, I really have no complaints. I think the overall grade that I would give to this event is probably like a 9 out of 10. Like, it was just genuinely good. Like, the only thing that could be better is that the Battle Pass prices get slightly nerfed, and that there's a free version to get there's a free version of the Premium Battle Pass. But outside of those Battle Pass issues, the event was genuinely a 9 out of 10. Yeah, that's really my only complaint. Like, I in terms of gameplay and like story and like enemies and all that, I really have no complaints. So the gameplay itself is a 10 out of 10, but when you factor the problems with the Battle Pass in, then it becomes a 9 out of 10. So 9 out of 10 is the final rating that I'm gonna give it. But yeah, that's everything, guys. I hope you enjoyed this long video. I hope you stuck around to the end. If you're still watching the ending, then like, subscribe, and comment and all that. And I'll see you in the next video. So, yeah, that's all I gotta say. Goodbye, everyone. See you later.